Scott has told us already. I'm going to pass the mic over to Dave Nelson, who will give us a rundown of our May through November Lyceums. Then I'll introduce John and the program after that. So, Dave?
Thank you, Carl. So, just, I see an awful lot of new faces here in the audience, so I'm going to take just a couple of moments here to just kind of like talk a little bit about what our programs here. This is welcome to the First Congregational Church of Milford Lyceum. We are in our third year, and we have a number of programs for this year. And my name is Dave Nelson, and this is Carl Darling. And I'm going to ask, and we have also on this group that organizes and puts these things together. We have Carol Whittier. Put your hand up. She helps to keep it all running smoothly. And then we have Scott Whittier. Put your hand up. And without him, none of this would happen, because he's the one that puts together and allows it to gets it on the screen and puts it on YouTube and things like that.
Hey Dave, what does Lyceum mean?
It's a place for, the best person to answer that is Alex, but my understanding is the Lyceum is a place to share and ideas and thoughts and things of that nature.
And if you've been in Greece, Greece was one of the first locations where Lyceums were started.
Yeah, Lyceum is a Greek word. So let me just take you through the programs for the rest of the year. First, we have coming up in May, we have our presenter is Brian Whittier, son of Scott and Carol. And he's going to talk about John Greenleaf Whittier, of whom he is a descendant. So it's take a journey through the life and accomplishments of poet John Greenleaf Whittier through the eyes and music of one of his descendants. And this course will cover everything from his activity as an abolitionist to his great epic poems to his enduring legacy. So that'll be in May. In June, we have Vicki Keskinen, whose program is going to be on Mary Magdalene, a follower of Jesus Christ and one of the first disciples, the first person Christ appeared to upon his resurrection. In September, our presenter will be Andrea Guidiboni, and she'll talk about Mary Shelley and Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, an 1818 Gothic novel written by the author Mary Shelley, and tells a story, the well-known story of Frankenstein's monster. So, and it'll be more than that. It'll also be about Mary Shelley. So that'll be in September. In October, we have Paula Gregory. I haven't got this memorized, so I have to read it. And this she'll be presenting the Harvard University's Ware collection of Blaschka glass in ways to explore the fascinating creation and restoration of the Blaschka glass models of plants from 1890 to 1940. Leopold and Adolf Blaschka of Hosterwitz, Germany, created 850 life-size glass models and 3,000 enlargement models representing 780 plant species. It's really quite interesting. And then in November, we have Carol Whittier back again to talk about history as served, culinary delights of the late 19th and early 20th century, the Gilded Age. This will explore food and food production, starting from the Gilded Age and moving into the Progressive Age. World War I era and end with the Roaring '20s. Time marked a period of rapid industrialization, technological innovation, and economic growth in the United States, with advances in machinery, railroad, steel production, and electricity revolutionized manufacturing. There will be new technologies related to food, canning, pasteurization, and chemical preservatives. So that will be in November. There is no Lyceum scheduled for December. And that will take us through the programs for the remainder of the year of this year, 2026. But now I'm going to turn it back to Carl, and he's going to introduce our guest speaker program.
Thanks very much, David. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Jon Brooks, the life and art. And I've learned by looking at many of his pictures and his art, and seeing that it's art, but it's sculpture. And then each of the pieces represents a different part of art, a different part of furniture, a different part of your life, right? So Jon has allowed me to do a few slides, and I'll pass it over to him to start his program. Are you ready?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I entertain you with a few pictures here of Jon, and as you see him with a hat. I thought it would be appropriate to add 4 or 5 of his hats in here, you see. And one of his simple signatures that's not part of his art, but that's part of how it represents him. And also welcome you to go to jonbrooks.org, and you'll see just fabulous pictures of the home and the property and much of his artwork. So Jon's education, 1967, Master of Fine Arts College, Wood, Furniture, Design and Sculpture, School for American Craftsmen, Rochester Institute of Technology, Rochester, New York. Also 1966, a Bachelor of Fine Arts College, a Fine Arts School for American Craftsmen, Rochester Institute of Technology, Rochester, New York. Not all of these are included, but we picked the best ones. And the selected museum collections are located at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, Museum of Arts and Design in New York City, New York, Currier Museum of Art in our Manchester, New Hampshire area, Philadelphia Museum of Art, Fuller Craft Museum in Brockton, Mass, Hampshire College in Amherst, Massachusetts, Museum of Contemporary Art in Jacksonville, Florida, and not to be left out, the Renwick Gallery at the Smithsonian American Art Museum, Washington, D.C. But there's more. New Hampshire Historical Society over in Concord, New Hampshire, New Hampshire State Council of the Arts, Fellowship Collection, again in Concord, New Hampshire, Queen Victoria Museum and Art Gallery, Launceston, Tasmania, Australia.
Wow.
And he's got a story he can tell about that. And of course, St. Anselm College Art Gallery up in Manchester. A partial list of some of his awards. Governor's Arts Award Living Treasure, American Academy of Arts and Letters, New York. Purchase Award, New Hampshire State Council of the Arts. Lifetime Fellowship Award, New Hampshire State Council on the Arts. Best in Show Award, League of New Hampshire Crafts. Fellowship Grant, New Hampshire State Council of the Arts. Valentine's Best in Show Award, League of New Hampshire Crafts. Purchase Award, Massachusetts Art Council, Fuller Craft Museum. So I'm going to read this as if Jon was saying it. And I was really enjoyed reading this and helping him prepare for the presentation tonight. My artwork is about the collaboration with nature, using naturally formed hardwood, which is found and harvested in the local forests that surround my home and studio in southern New Hampshire. This wood presents itself in an array of shapes and forms, suggesting possibilities for furniture and sculpture. I am attracted to the architecture of nature as a compelling dance of control and chaos. My art is about cooperating with the tree's shapes. I find to create a balance of form, function, and craftsmanship. Color and surface design play an important part of my expression. In the studio, the empty spaces of arms, legs, heads, or seats slowly and carefully become filled in my interpretation and process. I love the carving, shaping, and constructing processes, processing each piece as it requires, and it develops and unfolds. History, allegory, metaphor, function, and color are my allies on this creative journey. I enjoy making furniture and sculpture that you can dance with. That is participatory, playful, and suggestive. Function is often a chosen limitation. For me, working with wood is a subtractive process, removing all that is unnecessary. It is like eating an artichoke, peeling away the outer layers to get to the heart. So, give John a little bit of applause. Use some of
Thanks, Carl. Carl has been responsible for putting this show together. I want to extend my
Turn
appreciation.
the mic up a little bit.
All right, okay. How's that? Is that better?
Oh,
Good. All right. Hey. I'm good. So, animals. Since I was a child, there was always a dog around in our family or in the neighborhood or whatever. And dogs, well, what's dog spelled backwards? Okay? I mean, there's something special about a dog. I mean, those of us who have dogs know the level of communication and affection that you can receive from a dog, including fetching a stick, right? So this is another version of it. Stick in the mouth, you know, down at the studio and I'm working and I throw a stick and Woody goes running off and brings it back and wants to go on and on. It's a lot of fun. But these are all tree forms that I have manipulated in various ways. When the wood is green or wet, and I peel the bark off right away, and then I can bend it into these shapes. And yes, every once in a while, some will go crack and break, but for the most part, I've learned how to get the wood to cooperate into these shapes. And then afterwards, I paint. I love to paint. A layer of acrylic on first, and then with a paintbrush, take little bits of paint and splatter it around the surface. I always loved the work of Jackson Pollock, who just used to throw paint at things. I've done a little bit of that too. But anyway, and the eyes and the head are very, very important, particularly the placement of the eyes. I spent a lot of time working on getting the eyes just right. There's some more. Georgia and Alfred. Georgia O'Keeffe, by the way, Alfred Stieglitz, you know, a couple artists. Frida. This is quite a large dog, very similar to the large one that's in the back of the room. Remember to count the legs. And what I do is I take a rotary tool and I carve the surface of the wood after I put the acrylic paint on and put a few coats of lacquer and I carve right through it. And then I go over it with color pencil and put all these marks on the surface of the dog. And then the eyes have been actually carved into the head and then painted light color like that so you can see it. And can't remember the name of this one, but it's just another dog. I've made quite a few of them, and I've also done bronze casting with the dog that is up in the back of the room. And turn my phone off, that'd be helpful. Don't know the name of this one either, but it's just another dog. I look at my work over the years and I see hundreds and hundreds of pieces that I've created, and I think to myself, you know, where did that go? You know, who's got that? You know, it went somewhere. I sell a lot through galleries. I've got a gallery in New York and another one in Maine, but I've had galleries in Detroit and out on the West Coast, and over the years I've had work all over the country, and so it's hard to keep up with everything, but I've made a lot of dogs and birds, and fly while you are able, Think about that. I've been given the gift of art making. Starting at the age of 5, I went to the Career Museum of Art, the children's program, and I've dedicated my life to art making because I feel that's what I'm supposed to do in this life. And it is a wonderful feeling when you know what you're supposed to be doing. It's just absolutely liberating. But with that, to whom much is given, much is required. So I like to teach and work with students. I've worked at various universities and taught in various places around the world, including Australia and Tasmania, and I feel I've been very fortunate in my career. This is an all-wood dog as well, yeah. Here's some more. Can't remember the name of this guy either, but quite compelling, isn't it? I mean, you hear the title of the thing and it doesn't really matter. It's more the piece itself. But, you know, in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the rough out head connected to the body. You know, the sticks for the legs have been added. Sometimes they're part of it, but in this case, all the legs have been added. And that's, I don't know, is that Frida maybe up there? Sitting next to the dog. And this is called Angel Dog Table. This one was bought by the State Arts Council, and it's in State College in Manchester.
Manchester Community College.
Manchester Community
Yeah.
College.
How big is that?
Yeah. That's, well, let's see. The head probably come up to about here. And that's a tabletop, so to speak, but there's wings. That's made out of black walnut. And the detail of the head. So I got this commission from a couple in Florida to make a starfish. This is quite a, large piece, about this big. So what it's made up of is a number of pieces that I've connected together. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see, in the body, where I've actually joined the legs together with pins. You can see them in that piece. And then I've filled in with epoxy resin and sawdust to make it smoothed out. And then I, carved it, painted it, and I think I finished that one with a file. That's what the markings on the surface are. Doggone ladder. Doggone ladder. I love ladders and I love dogs. You're going to see a lot of ladders. But this one just happened to be climbing up it. So I don't know what inspired me. Probably because I love ladders and I love dogs, so I just put them together. This was Nestor, one of my first dogs, and made him memorialized into you can actually sit. Go back here. Pushing the wrong buttons here. That's actually a seat right there. So it's like a stool that's, about 20 inches high. So it has a dual purpose. I think that's elmwood. Just plain elmwood. No marks on it. Yeah, I know there's a few art marks on it too. I can see some right there. And this is Vincent, as in Vincent Van Gogh. Yeah. With his paintbrush in his mouth. duck head, body, you know. I haven't a clue what's going on there, but I know I made it. It's just one of those wacko pieces. This is another dog with a stick in its mouth here. Okay, dog in the right. This is before it was finished, so you can see it's only a white coat, paint, undercoat, or whatever. And this is a bird, part of a bird sculpture that I have that's on a long stick. I don't know if there's another picture of that or not. But again, these pieces, like just miraculously, I spent a lot of time in the forest, you know, looking for shapes, hours and hours. And of course, I love being in the forest, you know, surrounded by 182 acres, you know, that was family land. And I'm living with Jami right in the middle of it. It's a fantastic place. I got lots of trails through the woods and wonderful to spend a lot of time out there. Part of where I get all my ideas. And where did I get the idea for this one? So when I get the sticks, I peel the bark off. So I took the bark and wove it like weaver would and made it into these shapes. And then I stuck a head in one end and a tail in the other and put some legs on it. And there you go. It's on an aluminum base. Yeah, that's a wild one. And that's, I don't know, about this high, pretty good size. Oh, armchairs. So that's a limb of a tree. And then I added a little table on one end. This is a very highly figured curly maple that I got from a slab of wood. The rest of it's tree branches, and they all join together in the underside of the seat. That was a lot of work that went into that one, but it's actually turned out to be quite comfortable. That's actually two different chairs. These two are the same here, and that's a different one. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Okay, so this was a stump or a root that I had some, I think that was a natural limb coming off of it. So it's upside down from the way it grew. And then I filled in, it had a lot of worm and ant holes in which I filled in with epoxy and colored pencil. Then there was a big hole there that I put in a piece of aluminum. And this is Palenque and the Night Lightning. I was down in Mexico visiting the site of the Mayan ruin called Palenque, just outside of Mexico City. And I went in quite late in the afternoon and it closed. So I hid in the bushes somewhere. Because I wanted to see more of it. The moon was coming up beautiful. Then all of a sudden there was this incredible thunderstorm. And it just scared the bejesus out of me, you know. I wanted to do, you know, thunder and lightning and all that, and get wet. And of course the Mayan ruins are represented by this shape here, and the lightning bolt, and then, but also a landscape kind of thing for a bench. Anyway, that's a good size piece, quite heavy. Dining set. Can you imagine that, huh? Whoa. That's a client in Oakland, California, longtime friend, who commissioned this piece. And put a lot of time into that. That was with a few functional ladder-back chairs that I ever made. Making a lot of ladder-back chairs with some sides and a little love seat that's currently on view at the Courier Museum. Anybody been in the Courier Museum? Anybody sat in it? There we go. So when the museum bought it, I don't know, it was 2012 or 13, something like that. It was just a showpiece, but it is functional. And the new director decided they'd allow people to sit in it, so hopefully it'll hold up okay. Anyway, that's Jami and I. Actually did a tracing of her face and my face on both of the figures. Right there. Yeah. There we are. So now we got some ladder back chairs that are functional. Various ones. This one's with a walnut seat, maple frame, and then I've added fork sticks at the top. So it's a dressing chair, so you can hang your clothes on there. There's another one, same kind of deal. And then this one I made for a fellow artist who lived in Oakland, and it's very heavy duty, really well made, very strong. Strong enough to hold the two of us, and he's a big guy. He's over 6 feet tall. More chairs. This one, walnut seat, sticks, painted green inlay. I had a little problem with this one because the feet were a little bit too short in the back, so I added a couple aluminum feet on it that I painted black and then etched in and did some carving on it. Another chair here. Can't remember the name of it either.
Narcissus.
Narcissus, great. Right. A place to hang your clothes up there.
It's a chair to get dressed and undressed by.
Oh. Okay, if you say so. More ladderback chairs. These are the actual original ladderback chairs. I made a lot of them. On Good Harbor Beach down in Massachusetts. I just took a bunch of them down there and set them up on the beach one day. Took that photograph. And here's some more. I think these are the ones that are in the collection of the Courier as well. Various iterations. And this is chair on an overturned vessel. What is it about that chair form that I find so compelling? I think it had a lot to do with the shakers. And, you know, the shaker ladderback chair. And I've kind of played with that idea. I recently just finished a commission for the Duxbury Art Complex Museum in Duxbury, Massachusetts, and made some very wiggly versions of these, 7.5 feet tall. I think it's quite large. More chairs. This was a chair I made when I was still in graduate school. I think this is my brother Phil's chair, right?
Yeah, it's here.
It's here, so you can see that one in the back. This is another version of the same thing. And this is, what's the title?
One voice.
One Voice, yeah. So it's about a communication between two people that are sitting back to back up against this animal who's interpreting what they're saying and trying to figure out what's going on. So this was a commission from somebody at the Courier Museum who had seen the love seat and really liked the hands and wanted me to make a big version of that hand. So this is the process of it being made and carving of it, and then that's the finished piece right there. And this is Lost on a River.
Oh, no, I can't remember, but it's a menorah, that would be.
Yeah,
the
it's a
important thing,
menorah.
is it?
Yeah, this was a commission from a friend for a menorah.
Abijah crossing the bridge.
Abijah, yeah, and Abijah Bridge was named after a place that we both have spent time at.
Tributaries.
Yeah. Oh. But it functions as a menorah, even though the top of the candles are cut off there, but it's just a detail of that. And look at the wood there, I mean, beautiful curly maple. And the deck is all aluminum with a candle holder, so nothing gets burned. Can you all hear me all right? Good. This is a solo exhibition that I had at the Courier Museum, Manchester. Some of my pieces there. This throne chair here was a piece of white pine that I found at the Manchester dump, which I spent a lot of time at when I was putting our house together, just looking for parts. I mean, I'll make a big confession here. I'm a scavenger, right? So I go around and find my pieces of wood in the forest, and I was, you know, the life of an artist is not a particularly easy one to try to make a living at. It's really tough, but, you know, I found that scavenging and making things that were throwaways from other people turned out to be quite useful for me. So, I think that chair has been shown before. It was, I gotta say, a really wonderful honor to have a solo retrospective show at the Courier Museum. I think it was like something like 40 pieces, or something like that, the pieces that they got from other museums. And here's a view of the interior. Set up some of the pieces from our house. There's that big chair again, coat tree over here. We've seen that chair before. The table looks really tall, but it's just a photograph. A table, yeah. And then a ladder hanging from the ceiling there. Oh boy. What's the name of this guy, Jane?
Guy with a blue bucket.
Yeah. Snake Man, Fear and Temptation. He's in the back of the room. And he's a small sculpture. And that's a piece of that. This one here, I can't figure that out at all. But anyway, I made it. Half time, how we doing?
Yeah, you're doing okay.
Okay, good, yeah. So this is Bittersweet Twist. So this is, I don't know if you're familiar with this stuff that wraps itself around the trees, and I think it's an invasive, and anyway, I'm trying to make something beautiful out of it. But what I did was I made a joint right there that you can't see, where I took two pieces of bittersweet, hooked them together, and then I did this piercing. It isn't a piercing. I cut the end of this one off and then cut it to fit around the other piece. And it wasn't very long, so I added another piece to get it up on the base. I think that's probably the weakest part of it, is that area right about there. But anyway, we have this in our bedroom, and we like it. Yeah. But you can, with a photograph, you know, you can see the sense of scale on it. Did somebody have a question? No? Okay. 9/11.
Wow.
All right, now,
Wow.
get this. My daughter Rebecca, who's a jeweler, she was living in New York at the time. 9/11 happened. I was making this sculpture of these two characters just carrying a canoe with very, very facial features and everything. And then 9/11 happened. And I had been absolutely petrified for a couple days, just wondering what was going on with Rebecca in New York, and it just really scared me. And this piece came out of it, and it's something that we all remember quite well, the burning buildings. Oh, that's my interpretation of it.
That's at the Courier now.
Yeah, it's now a part of the permanent collection there. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, what is that? Oh. Marooned on the River of Denial. That's quite large. That's about this tall. Yeah. You have these paddles that are actually going right down through this laminated walnut boat form. And I was a conscientious objector during the Vietnam War. And this piece has a lot to do with that, because America was going in to make some new invasion of another country somewhere. I worked out my frustration by making this piece. Music stands. My daughter was with me when I was in Australia, and she was playing the flute then, and she needed a music stand, so I made one, and then I liked the way they turned out, so I made a bunch of them. And then I did an artist in residency position at a place called Art Park in upstate New York, right on the Niagara River, and I carved these spiral pillars there. I was there for about a month, and I did several pieces, and this was one of them. And we have these in our yard now.
Reconciliation.
Reconciliation. Thanks, Tim. Yeah. That's a very, that's life size. That's my height. Yeah. More ladder-back chairs. This one here is in process, so it's still kind of in a rough shape, but I've just put it together to see how it's coming. I'll tell you why in a bit, but my early work, when I first came back to New Hampshire, and when I was living in California before I came back, was finding huge pieces of wood and carving chairs into them. Want to hear me a little bit better?
Yep.
Okay, how's that? Oh, this is a single piece of pine, which I've made a seat out of, so it's a place to sit. This is elmwood, sit very, very close, warm, but it is a chair. And this is the piece that's in the Museum of Fine Arts. It's called the Franklin chair, a chair that I made for my sister. This one, this is apple wood here. So I found an apple tree stump. I had to add on a couple little feet going in the back there because it was tippy. So. And this is an ash carved chair from a log, elm from a dining set. I keep moving along here. Title?
Oh, Cloud of Unknowing.
Cloud of Unknowing. Yeah, that was after Alan Watts, I think. Yeah, a book that he had written. Yeah. Anyway, so you can see the cloud shape forms up here and here, water shape. Two tree sections that have been hooked together around there. And the boat carved from walnut. Glass top. That's a bench. Seat. This belongs to Brother Phil. Table. Walnut top. This one here belonged to a close family friend who's deceased, and very close friend of my mom's. And it's in the Courier Museum collection. Okay, tables. So this is how I make these tables. Is I take a really thick slab of wood and then I carve the underside. I do more work on the underside than I do on the top, just to get all these legs in place. Kind of like a forest. So that's in process. So you can see what they look like when it's done. But here's some sticks that I've harvested from the forest of these various shapes with these little, I actually dig into the ground to get that little shape out of the root. And then I use that at the bottom of the tables. You see it here. I've made quite a few of those too. Working process. Let me go back. So you can see that rotary tool with a big, large ball mill on the end. That's how I carve the underside. I do some of the work with a chainsaw, electric chainsaw. There's a finished one. So this work is done again with painted maple sticks. First, sand it very finely. Then I put on 2 to 3 coats of acrylic paint, and then 2 coats of lacquer, and then I carve through, and I will either use color pencil or stain to get the color into those art marks. Right here. Yeah. Here's excessive compulsive John. Okay, so what happened here, this is a tabletop,
The bench.
a bench top, but the grain in this is incredible, fantastic. But I glued these 2 boards together, so there was a straight line going down the middle. I have a philosophy that a straight line is a missed opportunity. So I spent hours and hours, with a router carving out this other piece that I fit into the center of it, so you'd have that decorative piece going down the middle. So, another bench here. I think this is Gordon and Barbara's bench. Cherry top, maple legs. Same treatment on the bottom, except I was using color pencil. Back to that dining set again. But you can see the individual parts, put together. That's almost exactly like the top of the chair, so it all goes together. The clients love that piece. Give me a lot of feedback on it. These are glass top tables. 1, 2, 3. This is one that I did when I was in Tasmania during my residency there. There was a big debate about a dam that was going to be put up on this river, and the Green Party won, and they didn't do the dam. So it's called Gordon below Franklin, which are 2 rivers that came together. They were going to dam it up and put this huge power plant in there to get hydroelectricity. And so I made this piece to commemorate that issue. So you could see the gorge that the river was coming through where they were going to build the dam, and then the water with these bits of steam vent sticks that are flowing through here to make it look like water. So that was sort of a political gesture on my part. Various tables. This is a table that I think Phil and Mary Ann have this one here. And there's an angel dog again, and then another bench over here. This one is here tonight, so you can actually get to see that up and back. So coatry, just various branch-formed sticks that I put together, and I have these cross pieces that are going all which way here and there, and leaving the ends sticking out so you can hang your hats or scarves. Or this is a commission from a woman in Cambridge, Mass. Wanted a place to hang her clothes on while she was dressing, so that's it. And she wanted blue, she got blue. Ladders. This is the ladder that belongs to the Smithsonian. I made it for a client. And after he was done with it, because he had to move into another location, didn't have room to it, he gave it to the Smithsonian. And I was so grateful that they accepted it. That's where it is. Certainly can't climb it, but more of a visual piece. So again, the other thing is, you see the way the ends are at the very top? It looks like it's going right through the wall and down into the floor, including that one rung right there that ends at the floor. Kind of a trompe-l'oeil piece where it's fool the eye, where it looks like it's crossing, coming out of the floor and going into the wall. More ladders. These are all, I think these are all pretty much fairly small. And some of them are bronze. Did some bronze casting using that one ladder there. So. And this was a commission for a jewelry display. I think the client wanted me to make a box. I don't do boxes. No. I made the ladder and plate to put the jewelry in and hang the earrings and things on this. This was a commission from a client in Boston who wanted a library ladder. So this is my version of a library ladder. That's it in the process of being constructed. And this is the finished thing and a close-up of the actual rungs. This is a wood ladder that I set off to the foundry and had this bronze ladder made. So again, bronze, wood, detail at the top. Oh, whoa. This is ladder on steroids. I got asked by Hancock, Massachusetts, Shaker Village, to make a piece for them. That's all they said. Come up, we love your work, make something. And they knew that I made ladders, and I suggested a possibility of a ladder. So I went up there for, I don't know, month and a half, and they put me up, and I went out into the forest and harvested all these pieces and made this ladder for them. So, but 27 feet high.
Is it functional?
Yeah, that's big, huh?
Is it what?
Is it functional? It's just
Absolutely,
plain out.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Look at the distance in the rungs. You have to get giant. You have to get really small. No. Good question. All right, this is a previous studio that I had. This is the construction. You're going to see pictures of our house a little bit, and this is the type of way that I like to build things. Again, a straight line is a missed opportunity, although you're making a curved form on a straight line, just kind of like a hyperbolic parabola. Yeah, 2010, December 10th, I think it was, yeah.
January.
Yeah, well, anyway, what a disaster, yeah. So that, what I just showed you there, turned into this. One of the reasons why I don't have any photographs of my early work, because it all went up in smoke. Yeah.
How did it start?
What's that?
How did it start?
So, wait a minute, let's see. Well, if we go back to here, you see this building here in the front? There's the telephone pole that's out around here, and the wire just was hanging, from one to the other. And according to the state fire marshal, the heavy wet snow pulled that wire out. And, we were up in the house, and Jamie woke up, but it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and, what's that light? What's that light? And it was already, like that. So the fire department came, but wasn't really much they could do. So here's where my brother Phil comes in. Phil to the rescue.
21 days later.
21 days later. Phil is in the post and beam building trade, and he and his crew made this magnificent new studio for me.
No straight lines.
Straight lines.
No, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to push it a little bit, but yeah. This same kind of construction that the studio was. Anyway, this is where we live.
Wow. Wow.
That's a single piece of elm wood tree for a ladder up to the sleeping loft. And there's the snake man, you'll be able to see him. Happy to listen to questions or answer questions.
Yeah, why don't you get some questions going? Education, the size, the art, the time, the money. John said he's had good years and bad years when you're selling, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but it's remarkable. I think you see a theme along that branches. And I asked him about the tables. I said, well, you have a table with 9 legs. He says, you don't make them all the same length, right? Don't you have some that don't quite touch?
Well, yes, that's true. The legs on the very outside of the table are touching the floor, but the ones in the middle are just, a quarter of an inch shorter. Just so most floors are uneven, and if you have them all the same length, then the table's going to dance.
So I'm going to turn the lights back on, and then please continue the questions.
Yeah.
We do have some food and beverages over here, and John and Jamie have put a few things on display, so I'll turn the lights on, keep going.
Sure, okay, yeah. Thank you, Carol. Yes,
When you're scavenging for wood, how
yes.
can you tell if the wood is deteriorated too much so it's not going to be a strong piece? Or is there a way that you evaluate the wood?
If I understand you correctly, what is it about that piece of wood that grabs me?
No,
No,
What is it that, how can you tell if the wood is broken down too much?
Oh, okay, these are all living trees.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not using trees that are dead, because that's starting to rot. I can't make very good pieces out of rotten work, so we'll leave it at that. But again, I mean, when I'm in the forest, I'm always looking around, and all of a sudden I'll see a tree way back. This is a great time of year to be looking too, because you can see so far through the forest, and there's a little branch coming out, it's just the right shape, and bingo. Yeah. Yes.
are you planning a fundraiser on your property to have people come up and look at just your works and buy your
Yes.
works that you have?
Our property,
And people could go hiking as well?
yes, it's open to the public. No.
But are you scheduling a certain time for something like that?
open house, he says.
Oh, open house. We do have, we have had open houses at our place. I mean, if somebody wants to organize one, I mean, we'd be happy to oblige. No, yeah, we have had lots and lots of groups coming through over the years.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
The wood is wet when you form it, but how does it keep it formed?
Well, like for the legs of the dogs, for example, I've got a straight branch, and then they got these straight limbs coming out of, or they got curves to it. What I do is I pull them down on either side, and then I'll tie a piece of wire across.
Okay.
And when the shape dries,
Yeah.
it'll stay that way. It's kind of like steam bending, but it is bending it when they're wet or green, because they're much more supple.
Such a long process.
It is, it's a very long process. I mean, the work, kind of has this look of, I made it quickly. A lot of time goes into it, yeah. Anybody else?
Do you steam at all?
I have done some steaming, correct. The ladder back chairs, they got a slat in the back, those are all steam bent, yeah. So what I do is I put them in I made one up out of just regular kettle, stove kettle, and I put a piece of pipe on that, and put it into a stove pipe at either end, put the slats in there, hold them up with wires going across. Take it out, and as soon as you take it out, you're gonna wear gloves because it's hot, but just bend it over a form, clamp it down, let it dry, and bingo, yeah. Sounds easy, but. Yes,
How many years have you been doing this?
how long have
How many years, yeah?
I started making stuff when I was 5 years old, okay? I was born in 1944, so do the math. Yes, good question, though. No, I'm definitely excessive compulsive.
When did you start doing the branches?
Yes,
When did you start doing the branches?
that came later. The early work was from very large tree forms that I was carving with the chainsaw just to speed it up. I mean, I started early carving and a gouge and a mallet, and then I discovered the chainsaw. And electric chainsaw is quiet, so I could use that in the studio. And that will remove wood pretty quick. I've got a vessel up in the back you want to take a close look at. It's totally been carved with a chainsaw, and it even left the chainsaw marks into the surface, which is tricky because it's fairly thin, so you gotta have a lot of control. I happen to have good hand-eye coordination according to my teacher, so
Thank you.
But I gotta say, I've been blessed. Again, to whom much is given, much is required, which is why I'm here. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
So I asked John, does an artist ever retire, like an engineer would retire? And John said, artists don't retire.
If your hobby and your avocation are the same thing, I'll work till I drop.
Thanks for coming. We have some refreshments over here.